Hello and welcome to another episode of Lost Gotham TV. This is kind of an unscheduled episode. Yesterday, after recording the one video talking about the Richard Laymon project that I'm undertaking right now, rereading all of his books, and then also searching out rare books, hard to find books that I haven't yet read. My goal is to read every single thing that he published, if I can. Some of that is going to be incredibly difficult, but I'm trying to purchase the books where I can. Some of them are quite expensive. There is one really big expensive purchase of a book that's not actually by him. It was published by his daughter and friends after his death. It's called In Layman's Terms, and it has in it some material that is not available anywhere else. So it is his writing in that book. So it's going to be difficult. If any of you are fellow Laymon fans watching this and you might be able to help out in some way, maybe you have a copy of the book that you wouldn't mind parting with for whatever reason. Maybe you have extra copies, or hopefully not financial issues, but maybe we can help each other. So in that vein, this episode is going to be an unboxing episode. So I have here this package that arrived yesterday after I had already recorded the other video. And most of the videos moving forward are going to be solely reviews of the books. But this was kind of a special package. I have more packages coming. I'm not going to do an unboxing video for every single package, but this one is special. I don't want to advertise the guy's email handle, not his eBay handle, but his name is Mark, and I found him through eBay, and I purchased this lot from him. He had them listed individually, and I talked to him, and he was gracious enough to bundle them together, and we negotiated price and stuff, and so I was able to save a little bit of money, but it's still an expensive purchase, and it is a big chunk, a big step forward towards completing my collection. And so it's kind of important. There's some stuff in here that is rare, hard to find, more expensive, and so I wanted to do an unboxing video. You'll get my unedited, unfiltered reaction. The only filter I'll try not to swear in these videos is the only filter I try to place on myself. No further ado, let's go. We're gonna open it up and see whether or not it is everything that I hoped it would be. Okay, so right up here on the top, we have a copy of something that is a little harder to find. It's not super hard, but it is a little hard to find. And it is a book that he wrote under a pseudonym, a nom de plume. I think I've heard it referred to as like house writers, where basically a publishing company was releasing books under one phantom author's name, and a bunch of different authors actually wrote the book, but they were all released under this pseudonym. And it is one of the more unusual ones because it is a Western, and it is called The Lawmen, and the pseudonym, it was published under Lee Davis Willoughby. And so yeah, I'm kind of excited about this because I have not read it. It is brand new to me. I will be reading this somewhat soon because it was one of his earlier published works, and I'm trying to read through his books somewhat in a chronological order so that I read them, at least the novels, from 1980 onwards. He published some short stories before that, but I'm going to read the short stories after I read all of the novels. And so here we have this, some damage on the spine, but other than that, you can tell this has been read. We have these crease marks. I tend not to leave those in books. I tend to be very protective about my books. I don't I try not to damage the spine at all. But that's okay. It's in great condition. You know, it might have been a library book or something at some point. It's got some print marks and stuff on it, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be in mint condition here. Okay, next up we have a little package here which has several of the Fastback books that I mentioned in the previous video, which are small little books. If you've ever had kids and you had like the Mr. Man, Little Miss and Little Mr. Men books, it's probably smaller than those. You know, they're almost kind of the size of your hand, and they are relatively thin. Some of them are double Fastbacks, so they have more pages, but generally they have like 27 pages for the thinner ones, and then probably double that for the larger ones. So okay, 60 pages for this one, Halloween Hunt. And so Halloween Hunt, The Hearse, The Beast, and Marathon. So 4 of these Fastback books came in with this bundle, and again, very excited about these because these can be hard to find, and some of these are ridiculously expensive for what they are. Very small books, and if right now there's a couple on eBay that I still need, but they're selling for like $25 to $50. So think about that. This is basically like a little leaflet, a little pamphlet. It's a little tiny thing, and people are selling it for $50. And again, as much as I love Laymon, I can't justify that expense for such a small little purchase. Moving on. I promise not to dwell on price every episode. All right, next one. Again, nicely sheathed in bubble wrap. Thank you, Mark. This is a hardback book which actually contains 4 stories, and this is Descendants of Eve. And okay, cool. There's a little surprise inside, and so this is a hardback book which actually contains 4 of the Fastback books. Not all of them are by Richard Laymon. For some reason, 3 of the 4 are written by Richard Laymon, and so this is by Optima. And it is a large print edition, a book called Descendants of Eve, and in it it has The Lonely One, The Trap, and Shootout at Joe's. And then there's a 4th book by somebody else. But we're going to focus on the Richard Laymon books. So again, this was an interesting find. I've only seen a couple of these floating around on eBay. And again, the fact that it has 3 of the Fastback books in one makes it a good value. Now, hidden inside the pages here for its protection is one of the more special, and this thing is immaculate. This is beautiful. This has been kept by a collector. Okay, so this is I can't think off the top of my head what these were called, but chapbooks or chapter books, and so. This is one called Tell Me a Tale, and you can see, again, it's relatively thin, but these were incredibly limited edition. There was I think maybe like a couple of hundred of these produced. I could be wrong. It could have been more. There may have been a couple of editions. I've seen some that had more than one edition, but this one here might have only been 200-300 copies ever made. And so, consequently, these tend to be a little bit more on the pricey side. These are about $50 each, maybe, depending on where you get them from. You can get them for less, if you're lucky. But some are harder to get than others. But this one, again, this one is only 23 pages. But it's on really nice paper, and it was a limited production. So these are worth a little bit more. You know, the little Fastback books were mass-produced. I spoke yesterday about A Stranger's Arms and how it was mass-produced, and so somebody charging $1,000 for something that was mass-produced seems a little off to me. But, you know, if you're a serious Richard Laymon collector and fan, spending $25, maybe $50 for something like this is justifiable to me. So I'm going to tuck it back inside the pages of the other book to protect it. And then we come to the last item in the box. I'll set the box down. So this is well taped up. I'm going to have to open this up. And again, thank you to Mark for working with me and offering me a bit of a discount, and for packaging it so nicely. It arrived nice and quickly, and it's safe, and it is amazing. And okay, so I've opened up the bubble wrap. This is a special edition of one of his books, and there are some of his books I have more than one copy of, but not too many. Normally it's things like, one of my favorite books is Island, so I have 1, 2, and then paperback. I have at least 3 copies of Island because it is my favorite book. I have a signed hardback, I have a paperback for reading, and I'll talk about those in more detail for those episodes. But this is a special edition of one of his earlier books called Night Show, and this is the special definitive edition. Okay, I'm just going to talk about it briefly here. So this was a limited edition. I don't know. So it is signed by several people. It was published posthumously after Richard Laymon died. So it is signed by Kelly Laymon, his daughter, and Edward Lee, Steve Gerlach. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Gerlach, and James Beach, and also Malcolm McClinton. And this is edition 229 of, I think, 500. So there were only 500 of these produced, and it is a hardback book. And I've never seen one of these before. This is one of only, I think there's going to be 3. This is only one of 3 definitive editions. There's another one being released this year for his book Funland. And I read something in an article somewhere about they might be doing a definitive edition for Midnight's Lair. And Midnight's Lair, along with Island, is probably maybe like my second favorite book. So I'm really looking forward. I really hope that happens with Midnight's Lair. But in this definitive edition, I'll talk about it in more detail for the thing. I'm sorry to keep repeating that. Again, I'm kind of doing this off the cuff with no script or preparation. So there's extra material in here. Okay, that's what I will say. I recently reread the actual Night Show, the original book in paperback, and I'll probably reread the definitive edition and try to do some comparisons while it's still fresh in my brain, so I can see what the differences are. And at the back of the book, there's some bonus material, but I believe there may also have been some additions back into the book, things that might have been taken out by editors and things like that. This has been returned to perhaps an earlier manuscript type form, I believe. I might be wrong. I'll figure that out and make sure I know by the actual video reviewing these books. The definitive edition may or may not get its own episode separate from the paperback edition. But anyway, that is it. I got like a small little treasure trove here, and I wanted to kind of share my excitement about it because this is again a limited book, only 500 ever made. The Fastback books are a little hard to find. The Tell Me a Tale was an extremely limited edition. And this was just a very exciting package for me to get. So again, this is kind of still a prelude to the actual review episodes. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I ramble a little bit too much. I know I do that. I apologize. Hopefully you enjoyed it, though. hopefully you're as excited as I am if you're a Laymon fan and you want to find out more about some of these books, especially the harder to find books that you may not have read or may not even have heard of. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until then, I'll see you next time.